Let's go. Turn up the volume. From the basement of the Empire State. This is the Basement Surge.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Basement Surge, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me this week. We have a great show lined up. And, wait, okay, so I'm very excited, as you can tell, because I have two guys on the show this week that I love. These guys have been around since I came up podcasting. We've came up together, I think, and they're really good friends. So before I introduce them, let me get this off my chest. If you're listening to us on a podcast listening app, do me a favor, hit that follow button, hit a subscribe button, hit the plus button, hit whatever button you have to follow to make sure you get notified whenever I drop new episodes here on the Basement Surge. And don't forget, we also drop episodes over on YouTube. So instead of listening to this episode, you could be over there watching. Or if you are over there watching right now, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hit that subscribe button. All right, so without further ado, we're going to talk a little nerdy stuff, a little geeky stuff. Marvel and DC, Star Wars, Star Trek. We're going to talk all things nerd. With these two guys, they have a little podcast that's about to hit 100 episodes. Okay, they've amassed an audience and created a catalog of close to 100 episodes of a podcast, and now they're switching over, kind of, full-time to a YouTube channel. They'll correct me if I'm wrong. But Shaun and Chris from Dadnarok, how you guys doing?
What's going on? Thanks for having us back.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Like, am I right? We did come up together, right?
I think so.
We found you guys, and we did the whole. We went camping, and we had two surge cans, and we kind of cheers them. We sent you guys the picture, and that started the friendship, really.
That's right. Oh man, yeah. We've been a long time friends. We've done episodes with you in the past, and we've always had a blast. Yeah. So I expect tonight to be nothing different.
You lit the fire on the YouTube video format.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what happened. Yeah.
When you did the marathon length coverage of what DC all access. What's
the
fandom?
DC fandom.
The first DC one. Yeah.
Yeah, the first fandom, the one during the pandemic,
the one that was successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one that was successful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a live stream of that, and we were on for a little bit for that.
Show.
Yeah.
That was I think that was like 12 or 14 hours live streaming straight for me. It was a marathon. It was something.
It was something.
That was the first time that we were in video format, and you, like Chris said, you put the bug into us, and now we're exclusively just doing video stuff now. I hate to break it to you, but the last episode of our podcast was recorded a year ago.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No, because I was looking at Apple Podcasts and Spotify and everything. You guys had just dropped something in March
of 2022.
Oh. My bad.
It's all right.
No worries.
Come on, you guys couldn't stop. You almost hit 100 episodes.
I know. It's something that we've been talking about for the last year. Like, we really want to hit that 100, and we just can't seem to bring ourselves to, like, just do an audio-only format again.
Oh, you're killing me. Like, you guys got to do at least, like, just hit that 100 on podcast and then say,
well,
okay.
we left it open forever. We left the channel. We kept on paying everything just so we can leave it up. We can do one just to get to that 100. And we found ourselves after so long and just sitting there like, we just don't know if we're going to hit it. We were just talking recently about, maybe just launching a few just to hit that milestone.
Yeah.
Right. You should. I mean, dude, that's like 100. No. Do you know the percentage of podcasts that actually hit 100 episodes?
Very few. It's like, that's the number that we're at now. We're at the upper echelon of people that were able to stick it out that long, but that 100.
I think we're at 96 or so. Chris, we got to do up to 99 and then just quit entirely.
Just quit at 99?
Just to troll John. Yeah. Let's do it.
I don't think we could be friends anymore. Oh man, but like you guys are so close. At least take like some audio from some of the video you're working on and just
that would be the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Just
that's
toss
what
them in
I
there.
do. That's what I do with this show. You know, are you kidding? Like this show's recorded on video. I just rip the audio from the video and I
We
post
did
it as a
it
podcast.
for a while. We did like what we called like uncut. Like
Yeah.
the podcast is the polished form, but if you wanted the uncut version, you can either go to YouTube for it or we'll put it up just as is. And we thought that was interesting for a while.
Yeah. We've evolved our format here and there throughout the last 3 years.
3 years now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Yeah. Wow. I have February will mark 4 years for me. So
yeah,
a little bit longer.
Both pre-pandemic, and then we kind of dove into it.
Right. Yeah, it was funny because I noticed a lot of people were saying, yeah, everybody started podcasting once the pandemic hit.
Right.
And I'm like, no, not me. You know, I did it before. It was cool.
We were pre. So I remember going to Comic-Cons and things like that.
I was that hipster too, where I was like, we started ours before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not part of that club. You know? But Shaun, you are actually in Kentucky, and during recording today, we're actually recording on what is it, May 6th?
May the 6th.
Today is Derby Day. Happy Derby Day.
Happy Derby Day to you all. Not that it matters to anyone else outside of Kentucky, really, but I remember growing up in Jersey. You know, the Kentucky Derby was just the annoying thing that came on after the Saturday morning cartoons. I was like, this again?
In less than like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I got big into it. I enjoyed it when like seeing a horse that wins Kentucky that has a chance to get that Triple Crown. Now that you don't see that horse winning in Belmont or Preakness, I think the other two. It's less exciting for me now. I'm like, I don't even truly care.
So I know see, by the time this episode airs, Kentucky Derby will be over for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
we'll probably be going on the Preakness because I think Belmont is in New York State. And I think that's the final one. He's like, that's my state. I don't know.
Well, here in Kentucky and Louisville, Kentucky, more specifically, it's a reason to party for 2 weeks. They call it's just Derby Festival. So
2 weeks.
2 weeks prior to Derby. So the Saturday that's 2 weeks prior to Derby Saturday, we have something called Thunder Over Louisville, where they're flying planes across the city and big parades, and all week there's all these like events and gatherings and people, barbecuing, and it's like we're just on party mode for 2 weeks.
You give us Midwesterns a reason to drink, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, especially some Kentucky bourbon around this time of year. It's good.
Nothing like horses running in circles for you, get you hot.
Oh yeah, it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of partying for 2 minutes of horses going in a circle.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Like I don't know. I watched the Kentucky Derby once in my life, and it like the guy, like I was hanging out with a guy. He had a party, and he invited us over, like for the Kentucky Derby. I was like, yeah, all right, we'll go. We'll have a couple drinks, we'll chill out. We get there, Kentucky Derby starts. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, it's over. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say 7 hours later because the coverage starts at noon.
It does.
The race isn't until like 7 o'clock.
It's
but coming from a guy who doesn't care about horses and never really watched it before, like I don't know.
It brings a lot of rich people money to the city I live in, so I'm totally fine with it.
Well, Shaun used to be like a mass exodus. Like when he first moved down there, him and his wife, like it was that weekend, he would come up to Dayton. I'm getting out of town. I want nothing to do with this craziness. And now he's talking about like he's one of them. Look, check this out.
I just stay home. There's no traffic in my house. I just stay home all weekend. That's the nightmare. It's just the influx of people. There's you add about a couple million people more to the city that's already kind of crowded, and it's it's not I'm talking to a guy in Brooklyn, so it's like not Brooklyn crowded.
It's like Swift came to town.
But as far as Kentucky goes, it gets pretty crowded, and I just stay home now. It's a good reason to grill out and just kind of have a nice relaxing Saturday at home. We're all
party,
Yeah, we're all guys in our 40s now, right?
I don't go anywhere. I go to the backyard unless I'm doing something with the kids.
Yeah, all guys.
I don't want to talk about that, Shaun.
Indoors with our ball caps on in our 40s, just recording a podcast.
Yeah, I think I'm
starting
to wear the hat. I'm starting to wear the hat to hide my receding hairline.
Oh God. Okay. real quick. I went to Kings Island. I went to an amusement park here in the Midwest with my kids, and I didn't wear my hat. What's my wife hit me with when we were walking in?
Sunscreen.
She says, next time we come, if you're not wearing your hat, I got to spray your head. I'm like, woman.
Yes.
I'm like, you serious? I looked right at her. I was like, that is messed up.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad.
My father is like completely bald. You know, so it's like every time we used to go out in the summer, he used to have to put sunscreen on top of his head. You know, so
I've always kind of had a 5 head, like a big forehead, so I haven't noticed as much
Yeah.
here. But every now and then I'll get a glimpse from either a security camera or one of those big domed mirrors at a Walgreens or something. You're walking by and I actually see this part of my head. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
Jesus, what happened?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
looks
No,
like a
I
nightmare
have
back there.
I have the peaks up here, you know, it's receding back here, but not in the front, in the middle.
That's the
so
good
I kinda-
kind. That's like the Michael Keaton. Just embrace that.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I need to
so
take some of this and put it back here.
I'm trying to figure out the right hairstyle for it now, you know.
Yeah.
I think I'm at that age where I need to, you know, change up my hairstyle to a more of a dad hairstyle.
I'm going to hold on for as long as
No.
I can.
Go mad scientist. Just put some product in it, stick it straight up. Let's just go with it.
Yeah, like who cares? Like
Yeah.
I'm married now, you
Right.
know. Like I don't need to attract.
I've
a
already
mate.
fooled somebody.
You know?
I'm done.
Right. Oh man. But all right. So the purpose of you guys being here is to talk all things nerd, which is your specialty.
Pretty good at that.
You know, so we recently got the announcement from James Gunn that he's releasing a whole bunch of brand new movies. But there's also a whole bunch of Marvel movies coming out. So before we get on this abomination that is James Gunn, because I hate what he's doing to the universe. Let's do Marvel first.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about Marvel. So some of the movies that are coming out, we have a new Blade movie coming out, Captain America, New World Order, Daredevil, where we have Charlie Cox coming back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Echo, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Ironheart, Loki Season 2, Secret Invasion, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So
That sounds like a lot of stuff that I'm not all that interested in, to be honest.
That's the thing.
Right.
It's not half the things that you brought up there are Disney Plus products, and they've been so hit or miss. There's, in my opinion, there's really only been maybe 2 that I've enjoyed, and it's Ms. Marvel, and WandaVision. The other ones,
I liked WandaVision.
The other ones, I really didn't. I mean, Hawkeye, I despised. I couldn't stand Hawkeye.
I couldn't even watch it.
My wife enjoyed it. That's the only reason I watched it through. Loki, we even did an after show on Loki, and we were like, we had to force our way through it at a certain point. We're like, we just got to get through it.
I think one episode we had maybe 11 views on it. Didn't seem to get a lot of traction.
I don't think other people cared about it either. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Some of these some of these shows, like Secret Invasion, is coming. I'm hearing big things about Secret Invasion. I'm seeing Samuel L. Jackson in it.
I'm actually excited about that because I remember the Secret Invasion and the Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Storyline in the comics.
Right.
You know, so like I'm kind of excited to see where they go with that.
That's one that has my I'm intrigued for. But most of the other things it's just kind of here right now. It's like the last time I went to the theater, I went and seen what was the most recent one? Not the
Ant-Man.
Endgame.
Okay, I didn't see Ant-Man. The one prior to that, I think it was the Thor, Love and Thunder.
Yeah, Love and Thunder. Yeah.
And I walked out of that when I back-to-back movies from Marvel, thinking I didn't like this because it was
really?
that
You
was
didn't
not
like Love and Thunder.
Oh, I know.
I liked it.
I couldn't stand it. I walked out of it thinking that was dumb. Like I love Thor. Thor's like probably one of my favorite characters in Marvel.
Yeah.
And the best part of that movie were the goats. And the screaming goats.
Yeah, I do think that they made that movie a little too campy.
It was too, that's what it was.
Yeah.
There was too much joke in it and not enough actual substance of the movie.
Right.
And they did the Thor not Thor, but Gore, the God Butcher, almost he was a side character. Like he was barely there just for a plot point.
I remember
Right.
reading reports when that movie was out that Christian Bale was somewhat disappointed with the way they chopped up the edit of his character. Because something initially drew him in, besides, a huge Disney paycheck, I guess. But typically, I mean, Christian Bale is pretty kind of selective with what he plays. And he's already done the superhero thing, and he was, the biggest DC superhero, in my opinion. Sorry, John.
No.
But,
no.
uh-oh.
Not a chance.
Is John frozen?
Oh no.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, no. Okay.
But Sean, I'm going to ignore that comment about Batman being.
Oh,
superior.
yeah, you did remember. Okay, you did hear that. I was wondering.
Yeah.
Well,
The funny thing
I'm,
is,
you go ahead.
we fall in the same line. I've always been a Batman guy. Always been a Batman guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Christian Bale.
This comes from the same guy who likes the Green Lantern movie.
Oh
Chris.
wow, that's a deep cut right there. Oh, I like it.
Have your feelings changed at all on the Green Lantern movie there, Christopher?
No, I still.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'll watch it. It's fun.
Oh God.
Fun doesn't mean good. Fun means fun.
Oh, that's true. Okay. All right. I'm well aware of your opinion towards really bad movies. Although I don't want to get into a Transformers talk here with John, because I think John's a fan of those too. Aren't you?
Not
Somewhat.
really. I mean,
I think
Have
the
you seen the
man
trailer?
means more than Sean.
I'm actually legit excited for the new Transformers, the
Yes.
Beast Wars, whatever they're doing. Did you see the trailer for that?
no, I haven't.
It's
Okay.
it's worth checking out. It looks like it's gonna be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it might be. Every now and then they have a reboot of it where it looks okay.
I think the Transformers movies are kind of getting a little old for me. Kind of like the Fantastic Four. Kind of like Fast and the Furious. Like Fast and the Furious 10. Like I was done at like 4.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
seen the past few.
Yeah. So it's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
Robots, explosions, I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same reason I love Pacific Rim. The first one's fantastic, probably one of the best. Like those type of movies. The second one is hot garbage, but I'll still watch it at any minute.
See, the Transformers is hard for me because I didn't really like it as a kid. Like I mean, I watched it if it was on, but I didn't want to. Like I didn't get
There's
excited.
no attachment to it.
Yeah. I didn't really like robots or anything. I was more into He-Man kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was too. It seemed like you had your kids that were Transformers in G.I. Joe, and then you had your kids that were Thundercats and He-Man, and it
I
was
was
like
Transformers
never the
and G.I.
twins shall
Joe.
meet. Yeah,
Yeah. I was more Thundercats and He-Man.
yeah, that was me too. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of Marvel movies that I'm actually looking forward to, like Blade. If it actually comes out, like I really hope that they actually bring back Wesley Snipes.
They just changed their writer like a week before the writer strike happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, here's the thing. That may be a good thing because Mahershala Ali is going to be, he's a great actor. He's going to be playing Blade. And he brought on one of the writers. I think they've already rehired a writer, and one of the writers from True Blood, or no, not
Was it True Blood?
No, not True Blood. True Detective.
Okay, True something.
True Blood is the other vampire show.
That's a very different genre,
That's
Sean.
a different one. I'm thinking vampires and whatever. The one that he was in, the other popular HBO show, True Detective. And I watched the season that he was on. It was really great. So if that caliber of writer is coming to this movie, it could be a good thing. But you're right, John. Like, I hope in some way, form or fashion, they bring Wesley Snipes back into the fold.
Yeah, I mean, like even if like he's like one of those elder vampire kind of things.
Yeah.
Or even if he's in there for like a couple of seconds.
I just make him Whistler, as far as I'm concerned. Make the guy Whistler.
Yeah, like make him at least part of the mythology of where this Blade came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wesley Snipes will. I think he has a pretty famous ego, so I don't know if he'll take anything that's just a cameo.
Well, getting out of prison, he might as well just take anything.
Take anything, there, buddy.
Yeah, but yeah, like Chris, I'm not really too excited about anything on this list. I don't know. I think I've kind of been let down too many times for a good Fantastic Four movie.
I feel like I've been burnt now that I'm on the fence right now with Guardians. I'm hearing a lot of good things about Guardians 3, but there's nothing pushing me to the theater this week. Like there's no, I'm not like I'm so busy with other things. There's nothing that is making me want to carve a 3-hour block out of any given day to go see
Yeah.
a movie from right now, a studio that's it's been more down for me than
Mhm.
up. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Right.
do I walk out of this one thinking, because I've never been a big Guardians person. Like I
Oh,
think
if
I
you didn't
think
like Guardians 1 or 2, then don't go see
I
3.
I mean, they're
Well,
good, but
yeah.
it's mediocre Marvel.
I
You
think
know,
they're
it's kind of like standard.
they're
Kind of hero.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're great. I don't think they're bad. There's some things that are fun, but like I think one's better than two, but I don't think
Mhm.
either of them are really fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm like, okay, do I want to see how they wrap this group up, or
Mhm.
do I just wait for it to hit Disney Plus, like I'm
Yeah.
gonna do with Ant-Man, and just catch it then?
Honestly, I don't really care how they wrap the group up. You know, I'm not really too interested in it anymore. You know, I mean, the first two movies were good, but I don't know how many times can you rehash kind of the same story in the same universe kind of thing. You know,
Well,
like
I mean, you could kind of say that for any, not just Guardians, but like, just Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. Like, we've already done, as far as I'm concerned, a tremendous 10-year long journey that ended with Avengers Endgame, an
Mhm.
incredible finale.
Yeah.
I am Iron Man,
Yeah.
snap, everything's good again. You still had your main characters, your Captain America, your Thor, your Hulk. That was it.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
got some Disney Plus shows where they introduced some new, maybe teenage, younger version characters, and like
It got,
I don't know what
yeah.
the hell they're doing right now, and it's clear like they're just
it got woke. It got woke.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
because they're owned by Disney and Disney's going woke.
Well, I don't care if it's woke. Whatever. I don't even know what woke means. Maybe you can give me the definition of woke. But
I don't want to get canceled.
I just don't. I know it's not entertaining. That's for sure. It's not as entertaining as Avengers Endgame.
Well, I think what truly happened is, I mean, they were pushing out too much, and Feige couldn't have his hands in everything. So when you're putting out 5, 6, Disney Plus titles, and then 4 or 5 actual movies, it's impossible for him to keep everything at the same quality as it was. So
Yeah.
now
Right.
with Iger coming back, he went ahead and even came out and said, we're reeling all this in. We're only
Mhm.
putting so many out so we can keep a certain level of quality, because the quality
Right.
is dipped. And then they're
Yeah.
losing their casual fans because they're going to make money on their diehards. The diehards are always going to show up. They're going to show up. They're either going to love it or they're going to hate it, and they're going to put their opinion out on the internet like we're kind of doing today.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like my wife. My wife didn't care about any of this stuff, but then she actually sat down during the pandemic and watched the whole thing, beginning to end.
Right.
And
Yeah.
she enjoyed watching them. Now she's to the point now where she didn't like Thor. She's a bigger Spider-Man fan than I was. I walked out of Spider-Man disliking it completely. The most
But the
recent
latest
Spider-Man.
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
really?
like Spider-Man.
Oh, I hated
I like
it.
Spider-Man.
I didn't like it at all. I figured that movie could have been over in 20 minutes. That movie, essentially, when May said send them all back originally,
Yeah.
he could have sent them all back then and the movie was over. But what happens?
Yeah.
He sends them all back 2.5 hours later.
Yeah, but then there wouldn't be a movie.
It would have been a better movie.
You could say that for any movie. They should have just wrapped it up in 20 minutes.
Right.
I mean, I think it's just like it's diminishing returns. I mean, anything that goes on this long, and honestly, the Marvel
Yeah.
Cinematic Universe feels like a season of a television show or something, like a really good big budget TV show. But you
Right.
can't really expect the 11th season of a show to be the same quality as the 3rd or 4th season.
I think that's my point, is that they're kind of beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Because they had a
and
great
Derby
cast.
Week, man, that's a messed up reference.
Oh my God, John!
Oh,
Maybe you saw
I
the
didn't even
headlines.
yeah.
But there were 4 horses that died at
It's
Churchill
7
Downs.
Really?
It's
Is
up
it
to
7?
7.
Oh, there's
It's
some
up to
kind of
7.
horse disease going around. I don't know.
Oh, damn.
It was me.
But-
It's all about Marvel, man. They attack Churchill Downs, man. That's messed up.
yeah. But yes. So I feel like they're beating a dead horse, okay? Because You know, they had such a great cast with the Avengers movies, okay, with Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth and all that, right? Like that cast, everybody throughout, like I want to say, the past 10 years has grown to know them as these characters, right?
Yeah.
And now with Endgame and Avengers over, really, like what else is there for them to continue? Like in order for them to make us accept a brand new cast of new characters, those new characters have to be kick-ass. With this lineup of new movies coming out, there's a couple of new ones that they have: Ironheart and Thunderbolts, okay, and Echo. Like those things better kill in the theaters, because otherwise they're just regurgitating the same crap. Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, Daredevil, Avengers.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Ironheart's just a female version of Iron Man. I mean, that's essentially because she had the suit and everything, because she was in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, it just seemed a I won't say knockoff, but a very, very similar type character. Thunderbolts, I could care less about. I mean, there's some people that are really pumped about it because of the cast and everything and the characters that are in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not one at this point right now has me excited at all. And I know it's a little ways out, so there's got to be some trailers or something that kind of get me kind of pumped for it. But it's going to take a lot.
Yeah, see, like Echo, Ironheart, and Thunderbolts, like I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
And I don't care about them. What's really gonna, I think, pump up the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Fantastic Four. Now, if they actually do it right.
Yeah.
That's big caveat right there, yeah.
Yeah, if they do it right, Fantastic Four could be amazing.
But okay, let me throw this out there. Outside of the diehards, does anyone care about the Fantastic Four?
Well, no,
that's a
thing because
because
the story's been shit the past couple decades, and
even the comics I think struggled.
Yeah, the comics. I mean, like it's such a good story. It's such a good origin. Like all the characters, like Reed Richards being a scientist, and Sue, and it's a great cast of characters.
It is.
Would they try to do it if they weren't the first family though?
Right.
If they were just another group like Guardians, would Marvel even make an attempt? Because there's been 3 attempts at this, and they've all fallen really flat.
Right.
No, I mean probably not. If they were just introduced in like the 90s and weren't the Fantastic Four and Marvel's first family, yeah, then no, probably not. But I think it's worth. I'll tell you what, I'm more excited about that movie down the line than I am anything that John mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Like the Marvels coming out. Like no offense, I don't really care. They're they have all these C and D list tier characters that were introduced in these Marvel Disney Plus shows. That are just like maybe they had their own comic, maybe it's a character that was introduced in the comics like 3 years ago, and it's like it just doesn't have the same presence as the Avengers and the movies that we're used to and we watched over 10-12 years, and it just stinks of being in a holding pattern right now while he's trying to figure out how the heck he moves on to something that the general audiences will be interested in, like the X-Men or the Fantastic Four. And while we're doing that, we're just, going over these, lesser characters. And I truly feel that they wasted way too much time. And I know they were hit with, the pandemic and everything there was kind of a wrench that threw into the machine there. But they could have found a way to where this year, what would have been better getting people back into theaters than a brand new MCU version of the X-Men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
where
forget it.
you get
because the pandemic didn't stop writing. They could have
maybe like a
continued
90s version of the X-Men, like with the Wolverine with the yellow suit,
get Wolverine was introduced in a Incredible Hulk comic, right? Like that's where the character originated from before it was an X-Man or anything. Make a movie where it's Incredible Hulk, Mark Ruffalo's Incredible Hulk, where we get him out of that whole Endgame headspace where he was just like cool bro Hulk, right? Get him back to being like a mean son of a bitch, and then introduce your brand new Logan into this movie. Get him to fight and introduce us, and then from there you branch out into that would have gotten asses back in seats in the theaters for an MCU movie. But instead we're just doing this these just weird like fourth sequel to a Thor movie that nobody really ended up caring about.
Nobody cares. Nobody
Yeah.
cares anymore.
I think the biggest
You know?
problem with the Hulk thing that you mentioned, I think Universal still owns Hulk. So Marvel can't put out an Incredible Hulk standalone movie.
No, not a stand. That's why I'm saying it wouldn't be a standalone movie.
They got to tie it.
Call it Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Call it Battle in Canada or something. They don't even have Incredible Hulk in the title, but you can have him front and center. I mean, he was a huge part of Thor Ragnarok, right? I mean, it was like half the movie.
It was pretty much a Thor, not Thor, a Hulk.
It was like a Thor Hulk buddy film, and you can have. That's what I'm saying. Like you throw Wolverine in there, then it's a duo, it's a tag team, and you can actually make some money. It could
be essentially exactly what they're doing with Deadpool. So it's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine. It's going to be basically a buddy movie of those two. And that's one I'm excited for. Like I'm waiting for that one there because Hugh Jackman coming back, but Ryan Reynolds and however they're doing it, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Deadpool. I hate to say it.
That's all right. It's a certain brand, right? It's a certain acquired taste, I guess.
Yeah,
if you like Ryan Reynolds, you probably like Deadpool. If not,
right. Well, you see, that's the thing is that like I don't really like his sarcastic humor.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
Right.
I can
take 2 hours
it in
of that.
bits.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've seen the first Deadpool movie. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
It's worth watching. I'll put it that way. Yeah. Don't go out of your way, but if you're sitting down, you're like, what do you want to watch? Like I ran into that a couple nights ago. That's why I put something on. It's a fun watch.
Yeah. But I mean, count me in for Hulk in the Yukon.
Yeah.
He's like, go gold mining.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Whatever happened. I mean, that would be cool. But we'll see how they ultimately do it. I think they just waited too long, honestly.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So I think it's safe to say that the movie that I'm most excited about coming out from Marvel is Fantastic Four, and like only because I have really, really high hopes that they will do it right.
Sure.
They might not. They probably won't. But I really have high hopes.
Well, weren't there some rumors that, like last week, that Adam Driver and Margot Robbie were looking to be cast as Sue and Reed?
I think they shot down the Margot Robbie, but it was apparently
I think she'd be pretty good.
Apparently, it was really close to happening, and then something fell apart at last minute or something on those lines. They're probably already cast, and they're just not telling us.
Yeah,
could be,
maybe. Yeah, but So yeah, all right. So that's Marvel. Let's take a little look at DC next here, because I spoke about this on a couple episodes ago of Surge, and I think the audience knows my distaste for James Gunn.
I'm curious. No, I'll be honest. I haven't been able to listen recently, so I'm kind of curious because I'm on the fence with him because, for instance, the
Peacemaker.
What was the one? What was that?
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, I love.
Yeah.
Peacemaker, I think it's fantastic. And then there was the Suicide Squad, his version. It's funny because I went down to Louisville and I watched this with Sean, and the couple that was going into the next showing asked me what we thought. I said it was a fun movie, but not a good movie. If that makes any sense. Like I've done that a few times on this show so far. A fun movie, but not a good movie. Like I had a good time with it, but it wasn't good.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you. Suicide Squad wasn't very good. I have a problem with Marvel properties coming to DC. Okay, because I feel that it brings the Marvel kind of look and feel over to DC and doesn't give DC the look of its own, the individuality, right? So, for instance, okay, when they made Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, they cast James Marsden in the movie, and he was originally Cyclops.
Yeah.
Okay, and the director, what was his name? I can't remember his name. You guys?
The guy that got canceled later. Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer, that's right. He originally directed X-Men, so he brought over, Cyclops to his DC property.
Right.
And I felt that it kind of spoiled the movie, and it kind of, didn't do much for me. So it left a bad taste in my mouth. So when I heard that James Gunn was taking over the DC universe, because he had written Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, all three of them.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, which Marvel actors is he gonna bring over to the DCU? And then the next thing I know, he fires Henry Cavill, which, guys, no. Okay. Henry, I think, is the Superman of this generation.
I think that whole thing got so twisted and made a mess.
And I blame The Rock
with the Rock and with Black Adam.
Yeah.
I think everything fell apart there with was it Time Warner? Or no, it was AT&T that owned them prior.
Yeah.
With AT&T owning them, and then them being bought out by was it Discovery? I think it is now.
Yeah, now it's Discovery owns Warner
that
Brothers.
whole change, and then The Rock trying to have a power play because of his name and trying to do what he was doing. I think if that didn't take place and there was more playing nice in between with The Rock, the studio, and everything, with them bringing in Cavill for the ending, I think he may still be around. But I think the core of why Cavill wasn't moving on is because of what took place with the actual Black Adam.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Rock had too many demands, like only blue M&Ms in his dressing room or some shit like that. But no, he did go over everybody's head and went straight to the studio's boss, and said, all right, I want this, I want that, I want Henry back as Superman. And so, when everybody felt threatened, they just got rid of everybody when James came along. So,
but don't you think that, none of these movies have done really any good. You go back a decade.
They haven't, but you know what? Zack Snyder's universe had such a chance to do so amazing, because I hate to tell you, but if you guys aren't a fan of DC movies, it's the take that Zack Snyder had on the Superman movies right off when he first started on Superman and Man of Steel. It was he approached the movie like nobody had ever done. All right.
Sure.
What if aliens really did exist, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because Superman is an alien. So then he kept that kind of continuity through the movies, like Superman versus Batman with Bruce Wayne, Superman versus Batman was more from the human perspective, how humanity seen Superman. And so it was, it was more set in the real world opposed to where Marvel is more set in, mythologies, kind of, mutants and the fake stuff.
Which don't you feel that's reversed in the comics, where the Marvel universe in the comics is sort of more of the everyday man being a superhero, like a Peter Parker, or a guy that's a millionaire, and instead of, having superpowers, he builds himself a suit, essentially gives him superpowers, as opposed to DC, which is I'm a god among men, because I was born from a planet where I soak up the sun's energy, and I'm not shitting on Superman. Look, I love Superman.
It kind of feels like you do, John.
I love Superman. All right, I want to see a good Superman movie, and I don't think we've seen a good Superman movie since Superman 2, Christopher Reeve. All right.
Yes.
So, and the Richard Donner cut. All right. So it's I get it. I was there in the theater to see Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, and it just felt like a little underwhelmed. And I was there to see Man of Steel, hoping that they would knock it out of the park. Me personally, I wasn't a fan of kind of the gray aesthetic and how kind of morose it was, but I understand where you're coming from. It was a different take on it. It was a more realistic take. They were kind of following the footsteps of Nolan's Batman trilogy, right? Let's kind of keep it in that same vein. So I got that. I love Henry Cavill too. I don't think he got a fair shake. I think he should have gotten a legitimate Man of Steel sequel, Last in a Krypton or whatever, not just one where he gets in a fight with Bruce Wayne. Give me something where he's fighting Brainiac or learning more about his past, about Krypton. Give me an actual Superman movie with Henry Cavill. I would have loved it, but we're just the way things shook out. We're not there anymore. They had to cut their losses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they've got to try something new, because I think there's just too much that went wrong and not enough that went right, honestly.
Yeah, see, I was
And-
so pumped for Batman versus Superman. And it's when they
Mhm.
first put it out, it was Batman versus Superman. They were giving us that. I'm like, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And then also when they slapped the Dawn of Justice under it, and this was like a month before the movie came out, they
Right.
changed, they basically changed the title. Then they like, okay, this is what it's actually launching. So we're going to we're going to tell you now rather than you find out in the movie. Now,
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that movie. And that's one of the few Marvel movies that I've had, DC movies that I had a lot of fun with. Like,
Mhm.
I'm a big Batman fan. I've never been a Superman fan. I kind of almost feel like he's overpowered for the universe. And when he gets his ass kicked,
You know what, Chris? I'm sorry.
And he's gone.
that's the second time I've been booted from the show. My Green Lantern take got me booted too. It's almost a calling card now. I got to say something that gets me.
Yeah.
But when he fights Batman and Batman brings him down a rung, just things like that. I know he's not supposed to look mortal. I like when they make him a little more mortal in the
Right.
world that he's in.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what you guys are saying, but it's like the differences between DC and Marvel with their characters is that Marvel's got mutants, and DC's got the metahumans,
Yeah.
or the aliens, kind of, So it's kind of like, those are really the differences, and the humans, if you really look at it, are really humans. The mutants are really humans because, they were humans at one point, and then like Peter Parker, he was one day bitten by a spider and then he became a mutant kind of thing, and so, you feel for them. They're kind of normal. They're kind of placed in reality, and New York City, especially with Peter Parker, and
Right.
and Fantastic Four, I think, is set in New York City also. So, you kind of have that connection with them. Whereas with DC and the metahumans, you have to, they go more towards the aliens and maybe, dare I say, immigrants,
Yeah.
and it's, it's more far-fetched, but the DC universe, I think, is built more on mythologies and gods.
Oh yeah.
So-
Oh, for sure. And there's different sections of the DC universe too. Like there's the really like creepy stuff with like John Constantine and like those characters.
Oh, I wish
With,
somehow they could
I
have
love
worked.
Constantine.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking, Sean, but I wish there was somehow they worked with DC on how they can hold DC a part of the Sandman Netflix series.
Yeah.
If we were able to get Dr. Destiny, they weren't able to say Dr. Destiny in that. The whole thing that happened within the actual diner in New York when he's actually has
Right.
the crystal and he's making everybody basically, they all wind up killing each other. I mean, there's so many things within that I'm a big fan of the actual Sandman series. So I'm
Right.
like, I'm telling Sean, like, this is this. I wish they would call him this, but they couldn't because they didn't get the rights to be able to, go side by side with DC. And if they would have held that, I think that would have been something, a feather in the cap that would work. It worked great, but
Yeah.
they let it go.
Yeah.
I-
Well, let's take a look at what DC has planned for upcoming movies. So you have the DCU Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. Okay, so he admits that they're all gods, kind of. Sean.
Yeah.
So you have Superman Legacy, which turns out that he's writing and directing this,
Yeah.
and I really hope.
That's a linchpin. If that falls flat, none of the rest of this
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, look, and I'm rooting for it. I want a really good Superman movie, and I want something that's more akin. It doesn't have to be a carbon copy of Christopher Reeves, but it's something more akin to that hope. I never felt hope when I saw Snyder's
Well,
Superman.
I hate to tell you guys, but Superman Legacy is based on Jonathan Kent, not Clark.
Is that confirmed?
Yes.
You mean Superman Legacy? Is there a comic that it's
There's-
based off, or the movie they're going
From
with
his-
Jonathan Kent?
From his son. Superman has a son in the comics now, Jonathan Kent.
Oh,
And yeah.
wow.
And he's gay.
All right.
And so this whole movie now is going to be based on Superman's son, not actual Clark, not Kal-El. So
Well, that's a mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's getting off to a rocky start. All that, yeah.
Right.
Because there's a couple
That's like
properties in here that I'm looking at. Like I want to see. Like I would
Yeah.
love to see Swamp Thing, and I want to see the
Oh
Lantern.
yeah.
I mean, the Lanterns and Swamp Thing are the two things that I'm of all this that's there. They're the two things that
Right.
jump at me.
Yeah. See, I was so excited for the Lanterns, and I'm so happy that it's a TV show and not a movie, because with the Lanterns,
I can have fun with
I
it.
would. Yeah, I would so much rather sit down once a week, and watch a series than just sit down for 2 hours and it'd be over.
I would love Ryan Reynolds to have a cameo in that movie, in that show.
Oh
Just a
my
cameo.
God, no. Keep him
Just-
far away from it.
Just some
Yeah.
guy like that's maybe a driving a car through town or something.
Yeah. Can I say that I'm actually legit excited for Booster Gold?
Yeah, you can say that. I mean, and honestly, depending on what actor they cast as Booster Gold, like that could be a home run. Like it's somebody that has the
Yeah.
that can pull off that kind of smarmy charm that's maybe not Ryan Reynolds.
Creature Commandos looks
right.
like it could be fun, and seeing that as animated, I mean they've got so many weird characters in that one.
I've
Oh,
heard. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that looks like that could be a good and actually more adult driven, kind of like a Harley Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, I've heard nothing but good things about The Authority, which I've not read, but I think it's a book that's kind of in the same vein as The Boys. Chris, and I know
haven't
you,
heard anything about that.
Oh, I love The Boys.
yeah, you and I are big fans of The Boys, and I think it's something along those lines. So, I mean, that's something that could be good. The Brave and the Bold, that's historically in the comics and the old school stuff, The Brave and the Bold was like the original. Well, no, that's World's Finest, the Superman Batman team ups. Do we know what The Brave
Right.
and the Bold is supposed to be?
The Brave and the Bold, that sounds like it's meant to be a Batman thing,
Right.
isn't it?
Yeah, like more. I know there was an animated The Brave and the Bold where Batman, it was kind of more campy, kind of a little bit more jokey, cartoony, where he would team up with different heroes in the DCU, or not the DCU, the actual DC universe, whatever.
The Brave-
Not DCCU, cinematic, whatever.
So the description of the Brave and the Bold from a comic book point of view, the Brave and the Bold is a story of Batman and his actual son Damian. This
that's
is based
right.
on Grant Morrison's great comic run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and
Yeah.
the beginning of the Bat family in the DCU.
That could be good. I'm a little worried about Batman overexposure, though, as far as because they're making a sequel to this Robert Pattinson
Yeah.
one, and I mean
Right,
Batman's.
but that considering that Elseworlds.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. I
Yeah.
like how they have DC and then DC Elseworlds, where they can do other projects that
Yeah.
aren't connected to the threads that they have here within Gods and Monsters.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's what's going to separate them from Marvel,
Mhm.
because DC is going to have multiple universes within their cinematic universe. Like they have the Joker movie, and then they'll have the Batman movie with the Reeves guy,
Right.
and with Pattinson, and then they'll have the Ben Affleck Batman, and then the Keaton Batman. So
Yeah.
it's multiple universes, and I think that's what really Flashpoint is leading up to with this new Flash movie. This new Flash movie is really opening up the universe to basically let them create different versions of their characters and not assign one actor to be Batman, one actor to be Superman, kind of thing. And I think it's good, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really give me incentive to go see Flash because
It's resetting basically everything.
right.
Yeah. Everything you see in this movie is going to be irrelevant because they're wiping
Right.
everything out to go forward.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, the only thing I'm really excited to see on this list is Lanterns and Booster Gold.
Are we just past the heyday of big superhero films? I know a lot of people talk about superhero fatigue or backlash or whatever, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I feel like we've already kind of squeezed the juice out of the fruit that was the Marvel movies. Unless they can reignite it with Fantastic Four and X-Men, which I think they're climbing a hill at this point to do that. And DC, like, we have you and I and people our age, we have some nostalgia for the movies from the 70s, 80s, and even into the 90s,
Dean Cain, man.
Yeah, but like there's a lot that's been done over the last. They just really diluted the brand a little bit between all the CW shows and just the they had a show that was about Alfred Pennyworth before he met Bruce Wayne, or it was just like I mean they're really, you talk about beating a dead horse, like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel as far as ideas to make into products.
DC has always done that from like the beginning of time, because do you remember in the comic books, they used to do the Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yeah.
Okay. And they used to reboot the universes all the time.
Right.
Okay. Introducing new Superman from Earth 4, Superman from Earth 26, whatever, And, And so this is kind of the same thing where they're, all right, it's a reboot, and they're rebooting their universe of Flashpoint. And now you're going to get a different Superman, only this time it'll be Supergirl, like you have Supergirl and Zod's back. And, so.
Well, I think addressing what Shaun was saying, I don't think it's so much. Well, there was a period of time where Marvel, at least Marvel had it. It's like you're looking forward to a movie. You knew you were going to walk in, love the movie when you walked out. I think that time may be gone. I think now we're back to a point where we need good movies.
Yeah.
And they need to get on a track of just multiple good movies in a row. It doesn't matter if it's Marvel, if it's DC, whatever it is. I think just the idea of a comic book movie now and getting everyone just to flock to it, because we've seen it now with Black Adam. The Rock typically brings in big numbers, but that didn't happen. And I'd see for me, I didn't like Shazam, the first one. I just thought it was there. Now, a lot of people loved it. I just didn't. I thought it was hokey. I just didn't really like it so much. But Shazam 2, the trailers had me. And I went to the theater, and I absolutely loved it. But no one went to see it.
No.
So it's
Garbage.
I absolutely loved that. I'll put that out there. That and Green Lantern. And
you love you some garbage. Look, it's established. You're a big garbage eater.
Stop talking, Chris.
You're about to get booted again.
So it didn't really. My whole point is it's got to be a well-written, well-acted movie, and people will get back to it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I think if they wanted, see, my problem is that they don't stick to the frickin' comics. Okay, they don't stick to the frickin' storyline. Like if they really wanted a successful Shazam movie, or Captain Marvel, really, if they wanted a good Captain Marvel movie, okay, they should have put him against Superman. Okay, if they wanted a good Black Adam movie, they should have put him against Superman or Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like forget about this Captain Shazam family or Captain Marvel family, whatever the hell you want to call it. Take him and put him against Superman. Put him against Black Adam, like the comics, like the books, like the stories are supposed to be. Remember, I totally think that the DC animated universe, the cartoons that they put out, is better than the movies that they put out.
Yeah. I agree with that, but I was like, isn't that kind of sad?
It is.
Isn't that these direct to DVD cartoons that they put out have deeper, better stories and are better adaptations of their 80-year history of publishing than these multi-million, billion-dollar efforts that they put out? $20 million in marketing and trailers a year in advance, and yet the thing comes out and people are like, eh. Like it's sad and it's depressing, and that's why they're in the state that they are right now, where nobody cares, and they're fighting. They're fighting to try to get people back into theaters to see these things. They're cutting off whole universes. They're firing people. They're hiring people. They don't know what the hell to do, and we're just like along for the ride, just waiting to see if the next thing's going to be, okay, or an absolute failure. Because right now, I haven't seen anything that's amazed me the way the MCU has coming from DC. There's been hits here and there. Wonder Woman was a fine film, the first one, 1984. Wonder Woman 84 was garbage. Aquaman, the first Aquaman was okay. It's like these DC movies, you can get maybe a C+ to a B- at best. Nothing's hit the A+ level of the original Iron Man or Avengers Endgame, or just like these huge heavy hitters of the MCU. And I don't know. I mean, taking a look at that list that you just put up, I don't see anything
Mhm.
that's like, oh man, that's going to be an A+ movie.
Are they handcuffed by how dark and grimy the DC world is? For the
Well,
most part.
it's not dark and grimy. It's more set in real world kind of thing.
But do we
you know?
want to
It's-
see that as a moviegoer? I would argue no. I want to see flashy Guardians over, some of these other properties.
When it comes to DC characters, honestly, John, I know you have your feelings towards the whole Snyderverse. For me, we've seen it. Okay, we've had more than a decade of it now, of
Right.
the gritty realism, especially, and then the Nolan films on top of that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what he did. And once again with the Reeves films, I mean, it's like here's Batman again, but we're fighting gangsters and stuff. Like, not to say that I want Batman and Robin back,
I say, do we need more
but
Burton?
honestly, I could use a little fun. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Keaton coming back.
Yeah, that's the biggest draw for me. That's why I'm going to go see The Flash, because I get to see Michael
Right.
Keaton as Batman again.
Yes.
The old tried and true formula of a Batman movie with a couple of villains out of the rogues gallery, what we grew
Yep.
up with in the 90s, and we were pumped to see that. Now I know they went downhill eventually, right? But they put asses in seats back then because you knew what you were going to get. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, the new Batman movie's coming out, and
I'm gonna
it's
start a
going to
petition.
be
Bring back Clooney. Hashtag bring back
Oh
Clooney.
my God. Next thing I know, you're gonna say, "Bring back the bat nipples."
I was
Oh,
on my way. You
Yeah.
were in my brain.
that goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
And the cod piece all in one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The Batman credit
Oh.
card. See, you don't need to
Never
go that
leave home
far,
without
but
it.
I'd like to see them have a little bit of fun. I don't know, maybe to see something a little bit brighter on the screen.
I was super excited, like you said, man. I was super excited to hear that Keaton was coming back to this Flash movie. And yes, I agree with you that the only reason I am going to see this Flash movie is because Keaton is in it.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
and I
is
get to
literally
hear.
the only reason for me.
I'm sure I'm going to hear those Danny Elfman cues, and I'm sure I'm going to see
yeah.
the Batwing and the Batcave that I know
They've
and
already
love.
showed the Batwing.
Hell
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't, and I'm going to love it every second of it that it's on screen. And maybe I'll actually enjoy, from what I hear, there's some inklings out there that it's actually a good movie. Maybe I'll enjoy
Right.
the rest of it too.
But it doesn't matter because there's not going to be a sequel because this kid's going to go to jail. DC fired him.
Yeah.
That's just.
Well, you know
Ugh.
what? Like you said, that's the strength of the DC universe, right? I mean, just get the Flash from World 2, or you get a
just
Wally West
reboot it.
Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need Ezra Miller. You just keep going with it. But it's like, and here's the thing. Here's what I think they need to embrace. You can do both. You can have a movie like Joker that is just like Taxi Driver from the 70s, just with a DC, filter on top of it, right? But that's a good film in and of itself. And you can have something that's light and airy and just fun and cartoony, maybe even animated. Like, I don't know. You could do, that's the wonder of DC comics, is that it has everything in it. It has
They
the
also
dark,
tried
gritty
that
stuff.
with Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, and it just didn't work. It was a lot. It was different. It was more colorful. It was more, just whimsical at times, and it just it didn't work.
I think if DC really wanted to play on the multiverse aspect of their universe, they should bring in Grant Gustin into the cinematic universe.
What they need to do is stop trying to copy Marvel.
Right.
Drop the multiverse. Do a movie, maybe a sequel, and just go that way. I honestly give me standalone movies, or give me a series of 3 movies that are connected. Don't try to do too much, because what they're trying to do is carbon copy Marvel and what they're doing, which, to your point, you don't even like that idea.
Yeah.
But they're trying to do too much of Marvel, and they're not succeeding at what they may be able to do best. Because Joker was a great movie, and they're getting a sequel of Joker. You're getting a second one.
Yeah.
So you're getting 2 in that aspect.
I think if anybody's copying anybody, it's Marvel's copying DC with the multiverse kind of aspect, because DC's been doing the multiverse for forever.
And and it's their fault that they didn't beat them to the punch. I mean, honestly.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
I mean, Marvel was able to the general movie-going public, it looks like Chris's perception, right? But you and I know from the Crisis on Infinite Earths that was DC's thing.
Yeah.
And Marvel kind of took it in the comics, and here we are though. But like the most of the people that go out and see these movies, they just see, oh, Marvel, oh, there's like 3 Spider-Man, oh, Tobey Maguire's there, oh, this is fun, yay. Like, but you know, and by this point, I don't know if you can do a legit DC multiverse and have people be excited about it. So I don't know, we'll see.
No, because Marvel, I think, has killed it.
Yeah, they did. They strangled it.
They killed it and left the leftovers for DC because DC is trying to figure out who they are.
And for those dead horses.
True.
Gotta come full circle.
Choked horses. Horse heads in your bed.
Happy Derby Day, everybody. Oh, man. All right, everybody. Shaun and Chris, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
This is awesome.
I appreciate it. Everybody, go follow Dadnarok, the Dadnarok podcast. Go record those freaking episodes.
Yeah, maybe you'll see a new
guys.
episode sometime soon. Or maybe not.
We'll keep you on edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so close to 100.
Maybe we'll
it.
reboot the Dadnarok podcast.
Yeah.
Oh. If you don't want to listen to their podcast, head on over to YouTube. That's where they post most of their recent videos. You know, they're doing a great job doing reviews and reactions to a lot of popular TV shows and movies. So go check it out. Hit that subscribe button. All right. So if you want to hear more episodes of The Basement Surge, do me a favor. Hit the links down below. We don't have an official site anymore because I took it away and I made like a link tree kind of thing. So go check out the links below and you can view every single link we have available to your pleasure.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And go hit that subscribe button, hit the plus button. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, hit whatever freaking button you got to hit to make sure you get notified of whatever episodes we drop here at the Basement Surge. And also, I put out another podcast called The Basement Dads. Go check that out, where Brendan and I from Dads Worldwide, we got together and made a little baby called Dads, The Basement Dads. And we talk about all dad stuff, you know, so maybe we'll have Shaun and Chris on. Talk about some dad stuff.
Yeah,
and,
that'd be great. See, we don't need to make any more podcast episodes. You guys got it covered.
We'll all just hide it from our wives in our own rooms.
Yeah. I'm building an empire, guys. You know, the Basement Surge, the Basement Dads. So,
love it.
It is what it is. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. We will see you next week.
Let's go. Turn up the volume. From the basement of the Empire State, this is the Basement Surge.
3, 2.